Joining us now, Betty Friedan. What do you think as you listen to the conversation so far? It doesn't sound as though we've come very far, does it?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that the bank that got the wonderfully valuable services of Lisa and said, come have your babies with us, and we will provide flexible work options, that bank is on the cutting edge. And the other bank, and I'm afraid a little bit, Mr. Korn, are kind of behind the times. And the cutting edge is not a mommy track, which is and really another word for sex discrimination. The cutting edge is more flexible work options offered to women or men. Parental leave, the national legislation is now really must be passed this year on a national policy of parental leave for the birth, adoption, the serious illness of a child or a dependent parent, child care. More and more companies needing to keep the valuable services of women and to attract women are adopting on-site child care programs and working out these flexible work options, but not at the price of women forever settling for a second-class sexual ghetto.
You really... I'm sorry, I thought you were finished there, but you really don't like the term mommy track. I mean,
no, I don't.
You don't like the concept. You don't like what it stands for.
No, because I want flexible work options and parental leave and child care available to women or men. I don't want women to have to make those either-or choices. Women should have the same right as men to choose to have children and advance in their professions and in the companies they work for and to be paid equally.
But I think that what Felice Schwartz was writing about is a reflection of reality as she finds it, not the world as she would like to see it.
Yes, the reality is that the work structures in most companies today are still geared simply to the life pattern of men that have wives that took care of the details of life. Now, the women that are entering the workforce in such great numbers today and are needed don't have such wives and can't be such wives, so the men won't have such wives either. So the companies will have to come to terms with the fact that the people that work for them give birth to children and need to raise the children, and every other advanced industrial nation except South Africa has done that with the national policies of parental leave and child care. The flexible work options, flexibility, you said, your reporter said a few minutes ago, flexibility is the name of the game, and that's right as we move into the future for American companies and American professions, but not to say only women that are going to give up the choice to have children or are going to somehow try to conform to what is already, I think, an obsolete pattern of the extremely workaholic male, that only such women can advance. It is temporary when a woman has little children. In the long work lifespan that women and men are having today, the fact that women do need, and some men also would want to take some flexible work options when the children are little, doesn't mean that they are should be kept forever from advancing in the profession. And the smartest companies, like that bank in South Carolina, understand that and realize that they are getting the services of very good women as a result, and that they are having less costs from absenteeism and turnover and low morale.
In fairness, let me just point out, A, the bank is in North Carolina, but Mr. Korn also wants to get a word in here. Go ahead, Mr. Korn.
I wish I could agree with Mrs. Friedan, as I have over many years on many issues, but the fact of the matter is that what the Harvard Business Review article was talking about is not what Mrs. Friedan is talking about. A double-track career, the mommy track, is going to set back women in middle management 5 years, and there is no room for it. It's going to set up a double standard, and it's going to put women into two classes, those who want to move ahead and those who have opted not to. And it is an idea that is not on the cutting edge. It is simply wrong, and it's wrong for women and it's wrong for men.
But I mean, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying in that context. Are you saying then if a woman really wants to make it as an executive to the very top levels of the executive ladder, she just has to forego having children?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Then how is she going to do that?
Oh, she's going to have her children, and she's going to take the minimum time away from...
She has to have them very quickly, in other words.
quickly and get back into the workforce just like a man would have to if he went away for a while, because the workforce closes around you and it's competitive. And as you start at the top of the program with your own staff, half the workforce are women. They're going to have children. They're not going to give up having children. It's how they lead it, and companies are fully prepared to have
No, but I mean,
women.
then you misunderstood what I said at the top of the program. The problem is that many of the women who work on the staff find they just don't have the time for a social life, let alone to get married and have children.
Well, that's unfortunately something that they have to come to grips with, because they're making a terrible sacrifice.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to say something here. I'd like to know what Les thinks about the fact that more and more women are having to leave the workplace now because corporations are not willing to accommodate their needs when they have their families. Yet over 50% of the new labor force that's coming in is women too. So what are corporations, what are they going to do? Train women, recruit women, bring them over the learning curve only to bring them to the same point in time where they all leave again?
I'll tell you what, leave that question up in the air for a moment, and
Okay.
We'll let Mr. Korn try and handle it when we come back. We'll continue our conversation in a moment.
CBS Night Watch aired on Tuesday, March 21st, 1989 at 2:30 a.m.